going on, guys? This is DropThisBox, and I hope all of you guys are having a fantastic day today. And today I want to talk about The Mighty Bee, because The Mighty Bee was a cartoon that came out on Nickelodeon many years ago, and I just want to sit here today and just give my overall thoughts on the show. And I also want to ask you guys the question if you actually remember this show, because I realized that Nickelodeon had a lot of shows come out all those years ago. Some of them are memorable, some of them are forgettable. So I'm very curious to hear if you guys remember the show. And if you have, be sure to let me know in the comment section down below, because I'm very curious to hear your overall thoughts on this one. So The Mighty Bee was a show that stood out immediately due to its quirky premise and unusual main character, Bessie Higgenbottom. And this wasn't your typical cartoon setup, and that's what made it memorable. It was created by Amy Poehler, Cynthia True, and Eric Wees, and the show follows Bessie, a hyper-enthusiastic, ambitious young girl determined to earn every possible Honeybee Scout badge to become her superhero idol, the Mighty Bee. And that single-minded dedication gives the show its direction and Bessie her unique charm. And this premise was incredibly original, even for Nickelodeon, which was already known for taking risks with oddball concepts. And one of the main reasons why the show's premise resonates is because of how relatable Bessie's drive is. She has big dreams, and she's not afraid to go after them, no matter how silly or impossible they may seem. This kind of character's goal is universally appealing, as most kids and even adults can relate to having a seamlessly far-fetched aspiration. It's her pure heart and commitment that make Bessie so likable, and in many ways, she's a classic underdog with the bravery to chase her dreams. And the show uses this premise to introduce all kinds of wild scenarios, taking full advantage of Bessie's scout goals to explore different themes and environments. Each badge represents a new challenge, and each challenge allows Bessie to showcase different parts of her personality and determination. From beekeeping to inventing her own sports, she's constantly tackling situations with a unique, often outlandish approach that makes each episode a new adventure. And there was no telling what kind of badge Bessie would be after next, which kept the show fresh and unpredictable. And by focusing on Bessie's journey towards becoming the Mighty Bee, the show also celebrates individuality and determination. Bessie wasn't portrayed as a typical hero. She was flawed, eccentric, and sometimes downright awkward. But that's what made her so endearing and honestly more believable as a character. Instead of being a superhero with perfect powers, she was an everyday girl on a larger-than-life quest, showing viewers that anyone could be a hero with the right attitude and spirit. And Bessie Higgenbottom is unlike any other character on Nickelodeon or even on TV in general. She's loud, weird, and unapologetically herself. With her buck teeth, thick glasses, and a never-ending list of badges to earn, Bessie was anything but the conventional heroine that viewers might expect. But that's exactly what made her so memorable. Her quirks weren't just there for comedy, they were general parts of who she was, and she wore them proudly. She was an eccentric mix of bravery, awkwardness, and relentless optimism, making her a standout character. Bessie's energy and enthusiasm are practically infectious. She approaches every situation with a level of intensity, whether it's a small honeybee task or a major personal goal. Watching her dive headfirst into everything, no matter how daunting, is inspiring. And for young viewers, especially, seeing someone who's confident in their quirks and driven by their own interests can be a huge confidence boost. Bessie wasn't afraid to look or act differently, and that was a powerful message on its own. Even Bessie's determination is refreshing. In a way, it borders on obsession. Her dedication to earning every badge is almost exaggerated, yet it's what makes her feel so real. She's a kid who has big dreams and refuses to be told that those dreams are too big or that she's too odd to achieve them. Bessie's belief in herself, even when others don't see her potential, is inspiring and makes her the kind of character who sticks with you. And in a way, she represents the everyday kid, just with a lot more enthusiasm. And what's great is that the show didn't shy away from showing Bessie's flaws either. She wasn't perfect and she wasn't always successful in her efforts, but she always bounced back. Her mistakes and imperfections were part of her journey, and they were treated as a learning experience, and that's another thing that made her relatable. She wasn't a polished or idealized character. She was flawed, but she didn't let her flaws stop her. This is why Bessie remains one of the most memorable characters from Nickelodeon's lineup. And the Mighty Bee wouldn't be nearly as enjoyable without its colorful cast of supporting characters who each brought something unique to Bessie's world. Her best friend, Penny, was the perfect contrast to Bessie's hyperactive personality, acting as her more cautious, gentle sidekick. Penny often tried to keep Bessie grounded, yet she was still loyal and supportive, going along with Bessie's wild ideas, and their friendship showed that even the most different personalities could find common ground. Then there was Bessie's dog, Happy, who was much more than just a pet. He was like her partner in crime. Happy's loyalty and love for Bessie were constant throughout the show, and his expressions often mirrored the audience's reactions to Bessie's wild plans. He was the silent, sometimes bewildered voice of reason in her life. Their bond was special and added a nice layer to the show, especially for viewers who love the classic trope of a kid and their pet sidekick. And Bessie's family also brought in an interesting dynamic. Her brother Ben was a hilarious contrast to her. He was laid back, more interested in relaxing and earning badges, and their sibling dynamic added another layer to the show, as it depicted the common sibling rivalry and yet showed the love they had for each other. Ben often poked fun at Bessie, but ultimately cared about her deeply, creating a relatable sibling relationship many viewers could see themselves in. Then there was Bessie's rivals with the other honeybee scouts, like Portia and Gren. Portia was the stereotypical mean girl, always belittling Bessie's enthusiasm, trying to one-up her. This rivalry added an extra dose of drama to the show and gave Bessie more challenges to face. These characters helped highlight Bessie's resilience, as she refused to let bullies like Portia keep her from achieving her goals. They represented the obstacles that often stand in the way of a big dream, making Bessie's journey even more satisfying. And the humor in the Mighty Bee was one of its most defining features. It had this high energy, slightly gross out style of comedy that wasn't afraid to be weird. In a lot of ways, it felt like a throwback to older Nickelodeon shows like Ren and Stimpy or Rocko's Modern Life, where anything could happen. And the humor often relied on exaggerated reactions and surreal visuals. And this style made the show feel very different from other cartoons that were airing at the time. A big part of the comedy was Bessie herself. Her over-the-top expressions, intense enthusiasm, and her frequent misunderstandings of normal situations were all hilarious to watch. Her imagination often led to absurd scenarios as she saw her everyday life through the lens of a superhero persona. This imaginative, exaggerated style of humor gave the show a lot of its charm, as you never knew what direction the story would take. And the show's visual style also added to the humor. The art was bright, bold, and slightly offbeat, perfectly matching the energy of the characters and storylines. Bessie's exaggerated expressions, Happy's deadpan reactions, and the weird, sometimes ugly, cute designs of the other characters all contributed to the show's unique look. This visual style helped the Mighty Bee stand out, adding to its overall charm and making it memorable for anyone who watched it. And the humor also had a lot of heart, as the show balanced its wacky tone with moments that showed Bessie's earnestness. Her interactions with her family, friends, and the Honeybee Scouts often had a genuine, heartfelt undertone, showing that Bessie wasn't just a joke character. She was a young girl with real dreams. Even if her methods were over the top, this mix of humor and heart made the Mighty Bee enjoyable for all ages, as it appealed to both the absurd and the sincere sides of the audience. But other than that, that is all I have to say about the Mighty Bee within this video. I just wanted to take some time today to reflect on an old Nickelodeon cartoon that came out many years ago, and I'm having a lot of fun just sitting back and reflecting on all of these classic cartoons that we grew up watching as kids, because it's always nice to just, sit down and just look back at the kind of show it was around its time and what it brought to the table and what kind of experiences that it gave us as a kid when we were watching these shows. So I definitely had a lot of fun talking about the Mighty Bee within this video. So I'm very curious to hear if there's anybody out there that happens to remember this show, because like I said earlier, I realized this is a show that came out a while ago, and I do know that Nickelodeon put out so many shows back then, especially in the early 2000s. So sometimes it's really hard to keep up with all of the shows that are coming out, so I definitely understand that. But if there's anybody out there that happens to remember this show that wants to share their own experience with me, if you guys have a particular memory, if there's a episode that you guys really enjoyed, anything along the lines of that, be sure to let me know down below, because I would absolutely love to hear it and to start a conversation with you guys. And if you guys enjoy this video, as always, be sure to like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And if you guys want to follow your boy on social media, be sure to check out my Facebook page, my Instagram, my TikTok, and my Twitter. All of that is located in the description below. Be sure to click on that bell for notifications so you guys are notified whenever I drop a video on the channel. But other than that, I hope all of you guys are having a fantastic day, wherever the day may be, if it's the daytime, the nighttime, or the evening. And I'll see you guys in the next video. As always, peace out.